Greetings, members, one and all of the Salivation Nation. Gold and silver must hold, or else. Let's explore. It sounds like a dire warning, does it not? Indeed, that is the case. As of the recording of this video, all of the metals are down, save for gold, and it is only slightly up. It has been trying to recover, but there's an analyst that says that there are some levels that gold and silver must hold, or else there's going to be trouble. And what does that trouble mean? Well, it means further dropping gold and silver prices. And, this is another one of those commentaries that tends to pile on. But this is sort of something that's a bit more kind of introspective when it talks about it from a technical standpoint. But there's also some other things in the markets that could come into play here. I know many are frustrated, especially with the newest inflation numbers that are out. Well, why are gold and silver down for all intents and purposes while everything else is going up, especially commodities? That's a good question, but we've been on this road before. We've seen this happen time and time again, and I've talked about it in a recent video. A lot of it has to do with the dollar index, bond yields, and even perceived market tightening or tightening of monetary policy by the Fed. And that is something that just the slightest inkling or even a hint that it could come will wreak havoc on the metals markets because people want good news. They thrive for it. They'll take it out of a turnip, even if there's no blood in it. They'll just eke it out in any way, shape, or form they can. And there's nothing wrong with being positive and thinking positively, but we also must be realistic. And the metals, in and of themselves, for what they do, they are realistic in terms of their performance over the millennia. So this is an article that I'm going to reference here from Kitco, from Todd Bubba Horowitz, and it says they're in downtrends. Essentially that every rally attempt has been weak and includes gold's rally of $20 on Wednesday. Gold and silver are in downtrends. Silver is the worst. This metal here, and in fact, it is the metal that has fallen fairly dramatically today, and it looks to have no bottom is what he's saying. Now, I disagree with that. I think there is a bottom for silver. But, and people can have different opinions on what that bottom is. I think it's around $20. But who knows? We've seen silver fall further than that in kind of rallies as well. In fact, as of the recording of this video, the gold to silver ratio has widened fairly dramatically, especially with today's drop of silver further, about 40 cents, and gold's rise slightly. Now it's almost 76 to 1, 75.76 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold is the gold to silver ratio as of the recording of this video. So what does this mean? Well, there are some hold levels that Mr. Horowitz has brought here to play, and there's a range. Gold's hold level is between this for the December future markets. It's been between 1720 and 1725. That is the hold level for gold. It must stay above that level or not go below that level. And December silver is $22.50, between that and $22.75. If those levels fail, the downtrend could accelerate. And this is reminiscent of a video I did before about silver's breakdown. And we have seen things like this happen in the past where we just kind of continued sell-off. And in a sense, that's kind of what we've been seeing here in recent days. Will it continue? Will the trend reverse? I think it's trying to recover. I think they really are trying to recover. But there's so many different factors and things that come into play. And it looks like any bit of good news they can eke out with the dollar, especially considering the dollar is the best of the worst of the currencies out there. It's the cleanest dirty shirt in the bunch, as we say. But nonetheless, this is where we are at. And essentially, he's not wanting to predict past these levels, but knowing the battleground is usually a pretty big help. So looking at technical analysis and kind of looking at the volatility of the markets really is something that we should consider here. Patience, discipline, and money management always wins the day, and we know that it's going to take a lot of that in order to be able to stomach these markets. And really, for me, it's no problem. I've always been one of those that holds on. I don't get swayed by the price. I talk about it a lot in the markets. It's part of what this channel is, but I'm also here to encourage you that no matter what these metals do, hold on to them for that which you've bought, because you don't lose unless you sell. You have the ounces in your hand. Those don't erode away unless you literally take a chisel or scissors or rub it down, and that takes a lot of time. In fact, I'll give you some examples of that. There's a video. If I can find it, I'll post at the end screen of this video what it looks like to literally devalue your silver over the course of 30 years. But nonetheless, it's about being able to preserve your wealth over the long course of time. And if you need to sell at a particular point in time, using a smart dollar cost averaging method means that you're not going to lose. In fact, you're not going to win either. In the end, if you do it right, well, you will preserve your wealth. And maybe you'll get ahead a little bit. That would always be nice. Most people do. If they dollar cost average, they tend to, and they do it in an intelligent way, they tend to not only preserve their wealth, but also to slightly expand their wealth. These are not tools of which to invest. They are commodities and they are monetary metals. It's that simple. And their price movement is pushes and pulls between those two worlds, but essentially the unifying force of their direction is going to be the dollar index. The strength of that dollar is going to weigh, not just here in the United States, but around the world too, because the dollar is the top world reserve currency. But they must hold, according to Mr. Horowitz here, that those levels, or we'll see a downward trend that will accelerate, that will speed up. And then what will people do? What will people say? And I would encourage those who have just started stacking this year or last year because of the pandemic or the silver squeeze, especially for you silver stackers there, hold on to your silver that you bought at $25, $26, $27, $28 an ounce. Hold on to it. Do not let it go unless you need to, because that is giving up. And we can't have that. And I know many, I've asked some in that community, are you holding on? I might even do it again. I might even post a comment on there again. Are you, what's your, what point will you sell your silver? And let's see what the answers will be. You can even put it in the comment section of this video if you are having price from which you will sell out of discouragement. I would encourage you not to do so, to hold on to it and wait for the price to come back up again. And some people may decide to do that and then get out then so they don't lose their shirts. But at the same time, it's a frustrating market. It's a volatile market. Silver especially is very volatile, and its prices can move fairly dramatically, especially compared to gold. And this is one of those days where gold has actually gone up slightly and silver has fallen. And of course, platinum and palladium have fallen as well too. But nonetheless, it is one of those days, one of those times, the gold to silver ratio widens, and so it gets people discouraged, and they blame manipulation. They blame, the big banks. And some of that is, I think, warranted, but others of it, is really natural market forces having a much larger role to play. And of course, we know that the Federal Reserve is probably the biggest manipulator out there by admission. So they do. And they are weakening the dollar. And they are doing it in a bold manner. See, they can practice modern monetary theory. They can continue to print money because they know that everybody else is doing it too. And because we have the status as the top dog in the world's reserve currency, there's a bit of hubris there, even though there's many nations around the world that are trying to free themselves from the constraint of the dollar. So there you have it. So Gold and silver must hold, or else they will go down. And you and I should hold gold and silver, or else we could lose out. So there you have it. Be smart, be wise. Don't just take my advice. Do your own due diligence and research. I would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, please share, please comment, and then subscribe.